Hello, how are you? Hope you are fine wherever you are. Today we want to talk about procrastination. According to a research done by Pierre Steele, the author of Procrastination Equation, 95% of people admit putting off tasks. But the question is, why do people procrastinate knowing very well it's against their best interest? Now, I'm going to share with you the science behind procrastination and the proven strategies that will help you to overcome procrastination. Procrastination for a long time has been confused with laziness. But although they are closely related, they are not the same thing. Procrastination is an active process where you keep off, you postpone, or you delay tasks. While laziness, on the other hand, is apathy, inactivity, and unwillingness for you to do something. You just want to sit there to do nothing. That is laziness. I want you to think about the most productive period of your life. What you realize that at that moment where you are able to stop procrastinating, you are able to achieve so much. You feel a sense of accomplishment and satisfied. This is what procrastination steals from you. Procrastination does not only steal your time, it kills your dream. It robs you of joy. But why do people keep on procrastinating? The human mind is wired in a way that will always seek for pleasure and comfort. Anytime it encounters a task that seems to be mentally demanding or challenging, it will perceive it as a form of stress or threat, even though the task at hand might not be that life-threatening. Now, this triggers the release of stress hormone, which makes you feel uneasy, anxious, and overwhelmed. And in order to relieve this discomfort, the brain will look for quick dopamine hits, diverting your attention from the task you are supposed to do to what seems to be easy and pleasurable, like scrolling social media, watching Netflix, snacking, or even making your bed, which when you got up in the morning, it seemed to be a difficult task for you to do. Some other reasons why people procrastinate are fear of failure. Just thinking what will happen if things don't work out. Fear of success. What happens if I become so successful and a lot is expected from me? Perfectionism. Just waiting for the right time for things to align before you take action. Some people will say to themselves, I'm very busy. I don't have time. But in reality, you will find out that the thing that makes them not to have time is because they are spending their time on tasks that are not of importance and procrastinating on important tasks. Some will say, I'm just lazy. But the fact that when you are caught up with a deadline, you will be able to spend sleepless night just working to make sure that you finish up the task. That really shows that you are not lazy. And others will say, I perform better under pressure. But the reality is you've never taken time for you to work on a task ahead of time. You are waiting for the last minute for you to start rushing on a task, meaning you've never had option for you to compare where do you perform best, which now nullify the fact that you say you work under pressure. Really just is a way to justify your habit of procrastination. And that's why I want to share with you simple yet powerful strategies that will help you beat procrastination and stay at the peak of your performance. You are not a procrastinator. You've just developed the habit of procrastination. The same way a habit is formed, a habit can be broken. But you need to understand that you cannot break a habit, but you can just replace the habit. I'm going to share with you 5 proven strategies that will help you overcome procrastination. The first strategy being reducing the number of decisions. Did you know that by just reducing the number of decisions you make per day significantly reduces your chances of procrastinating? This is because every time you have to make a decision, you have to ask yourself so many questions and provide answers to the question, which requires effort and energy. The more questions you ask, the more answers you need. The more energy and effort you will need to answer those questions so that you can make a decision. And that drains your brain, which increases the chances of you procrastinating. You can significantly reduce on the number of decisions you make each day by this second strategy, which is end your day before it starts. Just taking some time off to plan your day in advance makes a great difference. Before you start your day, take some time off to map out how your day is going to look like. Start by writing the task you're supposed to focus on that day using the 80-20 rule. 80% of the results you get as a result of the 20% of the effort you put in. Instead of trying to do everything, focus your effort on the task that create the most impact. After you've identified the task to work on, ask yourself this question. If I were just to focus on one thing for the rest of my day, what is that thing that will make the most difference? Start working on the first item on your list while your mind is still fresh and energized. Then make sure that you focus on that task until you complete it before you proceed to task number 2. This because the first task on your list is likely to be procrastinated. It is the most scary task. And if you be able to do the most scary task of the day, the remaining tasks will not scare you. Thus, it will create momentum for you to keep on working on the remaining tasks on your list. Just make sure that you work on them in the sequence as they are on the list. For every task on your list, use this strategy to make sure that you work on it effectively. And this is break it down. A big task at hand seems overwhelming. If you break it down to smaller manageable tasks, it becomes easier and doable. And this tells the mind that this is something which is easy, and the mind will work on it. If you want to run 100 miles, for example, don't focus on the 100 miles. This will be overwhelming. But if you focus on just putting on the running shoes, and you focus on making the first step and the next step and covering the first mile, after you cover the first mile, you focus on the second mile. Sooner than later, you realize that you're making progress without so much struggle. For instance, you want to read a 300-page book. If you look at the 300 pages, it is overwhelming. But if you decide that you are just going to open the first page and start reading the first paragraph and read the whole page and focus on finishing the first chapter and so on and so forth, you realize that you'll finish the book without struggling. Now, our fourth strategy is reversing the time inconsistency. Time inconsistency refers to the tendency of the mind to value immediate rewards over long-term payoffs. And for you to understand this, imagine yourself in two versions: your present self and your future self. Your present self loves comfort, avoiding hard work, prioritizes immediate rewards. Your future self wants to be successful, want to be financially stable, to be fit, and to be accomplished. But there is a problem. There is a fight between your present self and your future self. The best way for you to end this problem is to use these methods that I'm going to share with you. The first method is to make future rewards and punishment immediate. This can be achieved by envisioning your future self experiencing the consequences of every action you take and every decision you make by your present self. For instance, you want to delay a task. Envision your future self spending sleepless nights trying to catch up with the deadlines. At the end, you realize that you've done shoddy work and now you don't have confidence in you. For instance, if you want to eat junk food, envision your future self struggling with weight and obese. Before you avoid hard work, envision your future self living in poverty, misery, and struggling to make ends meet. The next method for you to reverse the time inconsistency principle is to apply what we call temptation bundling. Temptation bundling is simply making the task that seems boring to be fun to do. How can you achieve this? Only watch your favorite show while undertaking your house chores. Only drink your favorite coffee while reading or studying. Only listen to your favorite playlist while you're working out. By doing so, you realize the tasks that seemed so hard are becoming easy for you to do. The last step, which is very important, is take action and stay focused. Getting started is the key to progress. Remember that if you have a task that you need to work on, instead of staying too long staring at the task, just start working on it. The more you stare at the task, the more scary it becomes. And the more scary it becomes, the more likely you're going to procrastinate on that task. So just get started. And when you get started, focus on that task until you have it done. But if you're having problem with focusing on a given task for a period of time, you can use the rule of 25-5, which is going to really help you. That you focus on a given task for 25 minutes. Then you take a rest of 5 minutes. But remember, you cannot take a break until you have worked on a task for a minimum of 25 minutes. And remember that the break you take must not exceed 5 minutes. Always focus on increasing the amount of time you focus on a task while minimizing the amount of time you take for breaks. This will really help you to stay productive. What is the one action step that you promise you are going to pick from our conversation? And I will also want to know what has been your strategy to overcoming procrastination, if by any chance you've been successful in overcoming it. And by any chance, if I have missed any information that you think is valuable, please let's have a discussion in the comment section. Until we meet again, bye for now.